Welcome back. There is a new designer drug in town. It's called black cocaine and it's tough to detect. Here's all about the newest challenge for drug enforcement agencies in Mumbai.
Black cocaine is the latest designer drug in the market. The Narcotics Control Bureau seized more than 3 kg of black cocaine valued at 13 crores. But what's making it difficult for agencies is the fact that these drugs are being sold on the dark net. Drug traffickers mix cocaine with coal, cobalt and activated carbon to make black cocaine. The black cocaine cartel is being run by women and the code word used for transactions is sanitary napkin. They're in demand in Mumbai, Goa, Hyderabad, Chennai and Bengaluru, and they largely smuggled from South Africa.
Agencies have now come across a trend wherein some of these drugs, which are a part of the larger drug cartel, are in fact sold online. Some of these which are sold online include hydroponic ganja, imported ganja, ecstasy and designer drugs, which also includes the like of black cocaine. What really do these drug peddlers do with these designer drugs? They change the chemical component of these drugs so that they cannot be bought under the scanner and can be easily smuggled across various platforms, be it the air platform, that is at the airport, or for that matter in ship, where these smuggling activities are in fact on radar by the agencies. Apart from that, when it comes to these designer drugs, they are now in fact also sold on darknet so that they cannot be bought under the radar of agencies. Some of these platforms, now some of these darknet platforms as well as drugs, are a major challenge for the agencies and going further could be a new trend in the larger drug market.
Black cocaine is also sold on Telegram and Instagram. Suppliers are paid in Bitcoin on these platforms so as to not leave behind traces of transactions.
The reason being why the people prefer darknet is that your computer has a unique IP address which can be tracked or traced, and the investigating agencies or law and enforcement agencies can reach you with this IP address. But when you are using the dark web or darknet for surfing or buying certain things online, your IP address is masked, or so if at all somebody wants to trace you, it's very impossible, next to impossible. And the payment that takes place is through Bitcoins, where there is no bank statement or the transaction ID or unique transaction ID which can reflect into a bank or onto your mobile phone, which can have some traceability or trackability.
The NCB busted a big cartel related to black cocaine in Goa during Christmas last year. Now, they've added 2 dogs to their team to ensure timely detection.
We had information that some passengers are bringing some cocaine or some contraband from Latin American countries. So we put a surveillance and we come across some suspicious individuals. Among that, one lady we zeroed it down. And after questioning her, we found some suspicious black colored substance into her bag. So the substance was new to us. When we examined that carefully, we found that it was not, the sniffers were not able to sniff it, and it was not visible in the scanning also. Then we got more suspicious. We found later on, she confessed that is a black cocaine.
But experts say such drugs can easily evade these authorities.
If you bring this cocaine in a proper form, so it can be detected. But they have taken another route and they have make the mixtures with the pure cocaine, with the charcoal, with the cobalt salt, with the iron salt, and they mix accordingly and they prepare the color of this original cocaine is white. And if you mix with this charcoal and all that, it becomes black. And it is very difficult for the sniffer dogs to find it out.
Some of these designer drugs have been around in countries like the US for more than a decade. But the trend is only catching on in India now.
So what exactly is this black cocaine and what makes it so rare? Black cocaine is a mixture of regular cocaine and other chemicals of administrated quantity. Additives such as charcoal are put in regular cocaine base to disguise the typical appearance of the drug. The pure cocaine base is then recovered from the mixture by extraction using common organic solvents like methylene chloride or acetone. A second process is required to convert the cocaine base into powdered cocaine hydrochloride. So why is black cocaine so much harder for the authorities to detect? It's got no scent, so there's basically no smell, which makes the mixture undetectable for drug-sniffing dogs. It makes smuggling easier by disguising it as metal molds or asphalt or even toners of fertilizers. It also has the ability to interfere with color-based drug tests. So let me go across to Dr. Vikram Singh, former IPS officer, former DGP of Uttar Pradesh. Monish Bhalla is a former NCB officer. Mr. Bhalla, let me start with you first. When you were in service, did you hear of this whole thing about a black cocaine mixed with charcoal, harder to detect, sniffer dogs can't detect, so on and so forth? And how are you dealing with this problem if you encountered it?
Mr. Zaka, this particular thing, black cocaine, is almost a decade old. Okay, but in India, this was not a trend. And as your report said, this trend has been recent. I would say maybe a year or 2 years we have been seeing this thing. This is the second or third consignment which has been caught at Mumbai. Okay, and this particular thing, black cocaine, is yet a new thing as far as the Indian drug addicts are concerned. Okay, it was a common thing abroad. Maybe a decade or so it started back, but no, I have not experienced it. This is a very new thing.
Okay.
And as you said, it's a designer drug. Anything which is camouflaged with anything, any other thing, they come in designer categories.
Okay.
Okay. So, and as you rightly said, this has to be extracted again. See, it cannot be consumed like this.
Yeah,
this
correct.
is a long process. Okay.
So let me ask Vikram Singh, so if that is the case, and one of the other worrying factors for law enforcement agencies is that a bulk of the network that peddles this happen to be women, and two, that also much of the procurement, the financials of the procurement happen through the dark web, through Bitcoin and so on. How much does that make the life of law enforcement agencies in pursuit of black cocaine harder?
Extremely difficult, Zaka, but certainly not impossible. It is doable in spite of that. Women are favorite carriers, and you'll forgive me for using something that is not very appropriate. The nickname of this drug is also known as centurion pad, and the cost runs to almost about rupees 30,000 for 1 gram. And being a designer drug, the physical properties are camouflaged without impacting the chemical properties, the color and the smell, which makes it even more difficult for sniffer dogs to sniff it out and other chemical tests. But yes, it is perfectly doable on the basis of other tests, which I would say are calorimetric and also the other nanotechnology tests, the spectrometric. But it is not possible for every district or every area to have it. But bigger places and the places of import could possibly have these tests to ensure that it is made and sanitized and people are caught. But it has to be coupled with and doubled up with human intelligence and actionable intelligence from the dark web itself. Since the payment, etc., made in bitcoins and also other channels which are non-conventional, it adds a new dimension and the problem becomes even more enormous.
Okay,
Zaka.
so Monish Bhalla, in terms of the financials and how difficult or easy it is to try and bust the networks of finances that are used to try and procure this black cocaine, the dark web, Bitcoin, non-traditional sort of forms of financial payment systems and so on. How do law enforcement agencies crack this then?
See, darknet has been in use since long now. And I'll say during the COVID period, the percentage of purchase of drugs through darknet have increased many folds. Okay. The law enforcement agency, especially NCB, a year back started something called Darkathon. They tried to engage a lot of experts, the ethical hackers, to see what is going on in the darknet. And through that, in last few months, a lot of interesting cases have been booked. So it's not that agencies are not doing it. Agencies are doing their best. But as far as the drug traffickers or smugglers are concerned, or the criminal mind is concerned, they are very innovative. Let me be very frank, they're very innovative. And the agencies will have to be more innovative now to crack these things.
Also, the fact that, Dr. Vikram Singh, you have to extract it. It's not like you can consume, Dr. Singh, this black cocaine just as how it is. You have to extract it. It has to be converted to normal cocaine form and then subsequently be consumed.
Right.
Doesn't that make, Vikram Singh, the job of law enforcement a little easier in as much as, people who are ultimately the consumers of this have to go through that lengthy process of extracting it before they consume it?
Yes, Zaka, it's a very elaborate chemical process. And to use, as you mentioned in your opening remarks, the use of acetone and methylene chloride and other solvents, organic solvents, to extract the cocaine from them. And this elaborate process perhaps requires a chemical laboratory, and that chemical laboratory and chemical processes, of course, are a giveaway. The only giveaway in the whole process of the import and also the cleaning and the extraction of the pure cocaine from the black cocaine. That, of course, is a giveaway, but it is easier said than done. That is why I said the scope of human intelligence and the role of informers, the spot arrest, extrajudicial confessions, these are the indicators which help the law enforcement agencies to nab the ring and thorough interrogation, doing reverse engineering and going back up to the ring leaders. But you very rightly said by Mr. Bhalla that they have a fully dedicated research and development teams. We do not have that. We have to require and get the services of technological consultants to help us out to get into the dark web and also the rudiments and the ABC of the whole network and the insidious planning and execution.
So, Mr. Bhalla, the fact that, and I'm sure this is true for other drugs as well, other narcotic substances as well, the fact that the entire network is run by women. In fact, it came to light in Mumbai when there was a woman who was apprehended at the airport. She had apparently flown in from one of the African countries, and that's when they realized this entire network is being run by women. Again, how easy or difficult does that make the life of law enforcement and drug enforcement agencies like the NCB, for example?
See, we all have got a certain psychological soft corner for women, children, elderly. And when these people are used for such drug trafficking or such rackets or such crimes, definitely the agencies do not have that strong hand on the ladies or the females as they do on the male. Okay, this is something which we have to agree. Okay, and that is where these people take the benefit of things. And it's not uncommon. Females have been into this since long. In fact, in Northeast, a big seizure was done recently where entire female racket was busted. All females were there. In Kerala also, a lot of such females were caught. They were just like this. There's a code name of sanitary napkins or sanitary pads for this. In Kerala, it was found that females were hiding these drugs in their undergarments, and that's why the police could not even check them when they were stopped.
Vikram Singh, I'll give you the final word just in terms of being able to crack down on this, and what are the lessons that law enforcement can learn in how to track down black cocaine. It's also illustrative as to there can be various other forms of regular drugs, whether it's heroin, opium, so on and so forth. But in these complicated chemical forms, it becomes much harder to detect and also to stop and break these networks.
Obviously, Zaka, the key only is to use technical intelligence doubled up with human intelligence and also aid and information from sister agencies, both in India and abroad. And also to get from source information, actionable intelligence is generated. And yes, intelligence is the key, Zaka, and that should be the fourth key.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Vikram Singh, as well as Mr. Bhalla, for joining us. We'll see how the story plays out, not just in Mumbai, but other parts of the country as well. I want to move on to another story that came